Greetings and salutations, Earthlings. I am in a hurry, but I wanted to put out a little video that is about the Virgo full moon today, which already happened this morning. I am Zube, and if you are interested in a personal reading, astrology, or tarot, my information is down below. So I am going to share the chart for this full moon and kind of go over a couple of things that I think are going on here. Whoops, let me move that. There we go. So yes, the full moon in Virgo happened this morning at 6:30 a.m. Central Time today, just for your time zone. Now, what I want to point out is that we have the sun here in Pisces at 5 degrees. We have the moon here in Virgo at 5 degrees. And the moon in Virgo wants to figure things out, like wants to understand things, wants to have everything sorted and organized, and like what's happening here and what are we doing with this and what are we doing with that, in order to the moon feel comfortable. Okay. Because the moon is like our emotions. In order to feel good, we're like, what the fuck is going on? And the reason I think this is kind of significant is because Virgo is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is just not in good shape right now. Mercury is in Pisces, where it is in detriment and fall. It rules Virgo, and it's in the opposite sign of Virgo. So it's in Pisces, and archetypally, Pisces is more of a flowy, feely, floaty kind of vibe. And Mercury is your mind. Mercury wants to figure shit out. So basically, like, Mercury is drunk. Okay. Not only is Mercury drunk, Mercury is combust, which means it is near the sun. And it's being drowned out by the light of the sun. It's being burned out, so to speak, because the sun is so bright. So what this means, that Mercury representing our mind, our words, our thoughts, what we typically would use to kind of organize and make things, like make ourselves feel better, which is this full moon. I think we're going to have a hard time putting things into words, which is funny because that's what I'm doing right now, is putting things into words. But we may feel things, we may want to know what's going on, but we don't know how to explain ourselves. We don't quite know exactly how to organize or arrange things in order to make ourselves feel better. And what I feel is important about this full moon, and it covers like the next few days, as the moon is going to be transiting Virgo until tomorrow night, I believe. But the full moon energy is usually about 3 days. So I have been advising people to jot down notes, even if they're a little bit less, they're not arranged in a manner that is necessarily like a Virgo. It's more of a Pisces kind of mess, but write down thoughts you have about things that are going on. Even if it's sloppy. Mercury in Pisces speaks in poetry and symbols. You could also maybe want to like draw how you're feeling, or like something that can be more creative, where you're using that artistic, flowy sort of thing. If you sit down and you want to write out your thoughts or plan something, be like kind of in a very Pisces sort of vibe. Play some instrumental music, some Reiki music or something like that, so that your thoughts can flow a little bit more. When we have a planet that is in fall or debilitation, that planet is learning to work with the energy of the sign that it's in. And so it doesn't mean that like, oh, well, fuck it, I'll revisit that in another month. It's like, we just need to choose ways that work with that planet, because that ultimately grows us as a human being. So think outside of the box a little bit. And Virgo vibes are kind of perfectionists. Maybe just don't be so perfect about everything. But I do encourage writing, jotting down notes, spending time thinking, maybe even reading a book about spirituality or mindfulness or something, just so that we can make that Virgo moon feel a little bit more comfortable. We also have the sun 4 degrees from Saturn, and Saturn, it helps us to overcome obstacles, right? But it's sort of a wet blanket. I just feel like this full moon might be kind of heavy, and we just want to figure it out. And we ultimately will be able to figure things out. But the important thing is to not just throw your hands up for a few days. Just continue to methodically do what it is that you're doing and write things down here and there and understand that it is all going to make sense later. But there are things that are going to come in that are significant that if you just go, fuck it for the next 3 days, you may miss out on. And that was the biggest thing that I wanted to point out with this full moon. At the same time, we have Venus and Mars, which have just been in a conjunction, and Venus is heading into a square with Jupiter over here in Taurus. So we have the two benefics squaring one another, and Mars is actually moving into a square with Jupiter as well. So there could be tension around masculine and feminine, the relationships, or there could be integration of the same. There's something highlighted about the masculine and feminine, whether that's our internal masculine and feminine energies, but Venus is like what we desire, what we want, but we want like peace and harmony, and also money and finances. And Mars is our action, our aggressor, our willpower. It's the warrior energy. Now, both of these squaring Jupiter blows up whatever it's in contact with. It's the largest planet, so it expands things. It is considered a benefic, but we gain knowledge. So simultaneously with this full moon going on, where it might be confusing when we get to the minutiae or the details, and that could make us feel emotionally uncomfortable, I feel like there are big ideas and ways that we can grow and expand our knowledge base that ultimately help us to move in the direction of what it is that we want to achieve and the relationships we want to pursue and the money that we want to make. And that's what I would encourage. So anyway, I wanted to put this out because I'm making myself do these full moon reports. I want to do new moon ones too, but I'm just doing one thing at a time, one day at a time. And I appreciate you for being here. Take care. Remember to write down notes, and don't get lost in the details, but don't just get rid of the fucking details. There's something important in there, but you may not see it until later, and you might miss it if you don't take the care to even just make a mental note, observe, pay attention to what's going on around you, and because something might happen that makes sense at a later date, like next week or so. Anyway, love ya. Thanks for stopping by. Peace. Namaste.